Hi guys, and welcome to another energy forecast using the BU Oracle cards for the week of May the 8th through to the 14th of May. Just had to check to make sure I had my dates right. So this week is going to be really exciting because we have the full moon occurring on Thursday. And it's really great to see that the interjection between the cards, what's occurring on a planetary level, how they all interact with one another. So as I mentioned, this week is about a full moon. So full moons are about releasing, but in order for it to release, things can need to come to the surface. So you will be finding that there will be certain events that come to the surface, so old stories that involve people, places, situations, and events. Old emotions come up to the surface, memories, or they're all little bits of insight that give you the opportunity to be able to go in and ask yourself, is there something about the story that needs to be rewritten? Is there a new level of perception? Do I need to hold on and harbor those emotions anymore? Are they conducive to my journey? These are all really beautiful, inquisitive questions that we get to ask ourselves that are always about checking in, as you would have heard me say many times in the video last week, checking in, checking in. This year along our journey of being able to accomplish and achieve our dreams, we're going to have multiple times where we're going to be asked to check in with ourselves. The purpose behind that is if we don't take the opportunity to check in with ourselves, we're never going to be able to know if we are in alignment with our dreams. It also gives us the opportunity to be able to tweak and make adjustments along our journey so that we can always bring ourselves back into alignment with ourselves, our own truth. And our own truth reveals something beautiful and new to us as we make new choices around healing and transformation around old past events. So as you can see, with this week being the full moon, old stuff is going to come to the surface. So let's see what the cards reveal for this week. So going from reflection, the first card from Monday through till Tuesday. Monday and Tuesday is all about reflection. The next card is about music for the soul, and that's from Wednesday through till Friday. And then on Saturday and Sunday is all about perception. So how does this all come in? Let's go in and check it out on a singular level. Then we'll talk about the bigger picture of how everything comes back into play. So reflection, as you can see, there is a beautiful lady's face, but her face has a lot of harsh edges, and also too you can see in there's lots of spikes in her earrings, and the reflection is in a beautiful old ornate type hand mirror that we would have all used when we were children. So this card is saying it is time for you to be able to reflect back on your internal beliefs and to check in around your thoughts and opinions that you hold about how you look. As people, I'm not going to say just women, because I think this definitely plays out with males as well. If when we look at our reflection of ourselves, if it doesn't reflect back how we truly feel about ourselves, there is all of these old limitations that come up to the surface. So we may feel like we're not good enough. We may think that we're not where we should be. We may start to feel like for some, as we're getting a little bit older, for some people, well, we're all getting older every single day, we can start to think, well, I feel older than what I really am. So especially with this full moon, this is where it all comes into interjection, because the full moon's energy starts coming in anywhere up to about 2 weeks beforehand. So we can see that these old little thoughts that might pop into our head when you look at yourself, or just, you may finding that, sometimes, especially with women, we start to go, I've put on this little bit of extra weight, I didn't look like this when I was in my 20s, or, using an old reference point to be able to dictate how you feel about yourself now, and because of the visions of the two different weights that you were at different times can really hold an impact on how you feel about yourself. Because if you have put on quite a bit of weight, then that's also going to indicate that lack of self-love, and therefore we can, if we're not feeling in such a really cool mindset, we can really plummet downwards. So with the full moon occurring and the energy that is around, it's about being mindful of the internal beliefs that you have about yourself. Let them come up to the surface. Then, because I'm all about being able to share tips with you guys, because there's no point just knowing about these kind of things. It's, well, then what do I do to create the change? So then, you know, when these old stories come up, go in and really check in. How do you actually really feel about them? Just, we are not governed by our mind. We get to govern it. So if those old stories are coming up that's saying something that's really very cool about yourself, interject and go, you know what? That is how I may have felt about myself, and I may even still be feeling like that right now, but do I wish to continue the rest of my journey on this earth still feeling that way? Usually the answer will always come back as no. So then rewrite your story. Think about your actions. Think about your beliefs. Think about your behaviors. What are some of the things that will need to be started, and what are some of the things that need to be stopped? What could you do to start these new beliefs? So bring in, you know, really empowering affirmations or I am statements. So if you were to say, let's just say for an example, you had a limitation that allowed you to feel like you're not good enough. That's an old story. That's something that's running behind the scenes in your mind, playing out in everything you do. So if our mind governs our thoughts, actions, and behaviors, let's get control of the core. Okay, so go to your mind and say, I am good enough. Now that's step one. Then you need to support it with actions and behaviors. If you think you're good enough, the next time you hear yourself say something unpleasant, interject. If you also hear someone else say something unpleasant about you, interject and rewrite that. For someone who does feel like they're good enough, what are they going to do? They're going to take care of their needs. They're going to look after themselves. They may take themselves off and have a nice bath. They may go for a walk. The two biggest commodities that we do not share is time and money. Now that's something that you can give back to yourself as a priority. Make yourself a priority, which requires you to put time and effort into changing these belief systems. And you may find from an time and money is that you may start finding that you're really resonating with new books that are about building up your self-confidence, building up your own level of self-belief, rewriting these stories. You may want to even go and invest in, you know, seeing a healer that will help you find out what the core of the issue is so they can resolve it for you. You may want to go down a different line of progression, which could be NLP, it could be hypnotherapy. There are so many various different ways to be able to help interject and stop, to be able to stop this old cycle that we get ourselves into, which is to emotionally beat ourselves up. We wouldn't let someone else emotionally beat ourselves up, or I hope that we didn't. But we seem to give ourselves permission to do that. So this is the moment where we can come in and interject and go, not only is this a thought that I would like to change, but I want to change the actions. I want to be able to change the behaviors. I want to align myself and recognize and validate the beautiful person that I am growing into at this very point, and know that there are an array of amazing therapists out there with a huge range of modalities to be able to change, to be able to work with, to be able to help you with this time. So we don't always have to do everything on our own. Sometimes that healing is really nice to be able to find people that we really trust and help them help you with your healing progress. So, you know, this card with reflection around changing our limitations and our beliefs on how we feel about ourselves and how we see ourselves also comes in play with the card that came out for today's daily theme, which was Monday, which was rise above. Now this card says rise above any situations that don't align with ourselves and connect to the universal energies to obtain clarity. This card can also come in with our own self. It's not also about just not getting caught up in the drama of other people, but don't get caught up in your own dramas of listening to the rubbish that you tell yourself. Rise above and go from an objective point of view of being able to go in and say, hey, is this kind of thought, action, or behavior, is that conducive to the way that I wish to treat myself? Because remember, the example of what we allow ourselves to treat ourselves sets a tone and a standard in which we allow other people to. So this is where we can also reverse engineer. If we're seeing that other people are treating us in a way that's not how we would like to. It's a direct reflection of that you're giving them permission on some level because you're doing it yourself. So rise above it and change that limitation that's going on. Use the full moon, use all of this beautiful energy that's coming to the surface for you to see that change is upon you, and get excited about the change, because remember, we are all accountable for all of the choices we make. So we get to choose the story that we want to write for ourselves. So this is where we can bring in that level of accountability. So what's going to occur for us on Wednesday through till Friday is music for the soul. And you're probably wondering, how does music for the soul come into play with the full moon? When we have things that are coming to the surface, we can also find that music is an incredibly uplifting and empowering way to shift any stuck, dense energy that gets stuck within our physical structure. When old situations come to the surface, they usually affect the mind, the mental, emotional, and the soul level. Music is a way in which it works on the physicality side of things and also the other levels, which we'll discuss in just a moment. But it's about turn that music on, let it crank it out, get your jig on, get your jive on. When you start jiggling and jiving, or get your dance on or your boogie on, you actually move that energy that was once stuck to that old story that is stuck with you on a cellular level. It's also a way, once we get that movement going, is that it just gently vibrates that energy from within our cellular structure and then allows this beautiful new energy to flow in so that healing can transpire. Music is also an incredibly magical way to be able to connect with our memories. I know with my dad, he's been passed now certain music, a particular singer, as soon as that comes on, it brings up and invokes a memory of my father. Then it also brings up the emotions that come with my father. So music is a beautiful way to allow, if you're listening to a song and it keeps playing over and over, remember there's a hidden message in there for you. The message is around the healing, to be able to give ourselves a different level of perception in which we can go in and view these memories. Sometimes those memories, when they're triggered by music, they're about us to be able to see that although through unpleasant situations in our life, we still had moments of magic and beauty. And it's important that our mind also uses those as the ability to reflect back on, not to always to see our past pains, but to be able to come back and see some of the magic that occurred, for us to see that our life has had some incredibly beautiful moments. And music has that ability to be able to transpire our thoughts and actually allows us to connect in with our heart, to connect into those emotions, which connects to our soul. So whatever music you're drawn to, crank it on. There is a message there for you. There is a healing that is going to occur for you. It's also going to work in, with the full moon. Medicine drums, crystal bowls. They're also a beautiful way in which to be able to help that healing progression that comes from wanting to change your thoughts and beliefs around the reflection, that card that comes up. So you may want to find, a healer that does crystal bowl or singing. Or, as I said, on the actual full moon, you may feel really drawn to get outside if you've got a medicine drum and just bang it out to allow that vibration to shift the energy and reset a beautiful new invitation of energy. But music is the key to helping you through this full moon at this time. So whatever you're drawn to, remember there is a beautiful message will be revealed for you. Now, on Saturday and Sunday, we get the card of perception. Now, as you can see, yes, you're not seeing double vision. This image actually does have double eyes. Now, this is a card that some people tend to, when they're, I find it can be a card that can confuse people a little bit, because as it says, what is the world reflecting back to you? When this card appears, it's usually letting you know that you've been through a really, really stressful time. It also indicates that there has been a shift on a mental and emotional. And when that occurs, there is a real sensitivity that comes up. Definitely going to come up when you listen to that music at the full moon. What happens is when we have that level of sensitivity, people can say things to us and it can really affect us, and we can sometimes take it in the wrong way, and we start to feel that it becomes me against you, them against us, me against the world mindset. And when we come from that mindset, we withdraw from people. We start to think that that they're poking fun at us, that they're judging us. And really, this card is about, it's you judging your own self. So what is your perception filter flowing and allowing to come in? Are you needing to take more time from obviously the really big shift that's going to occur with this full moon? Are you actually giving yourself permission to actually go in and allow the healing to take place? Are you actually connecting with that core level? Perception is about core levels stuff, and what I mean by that is belief, love, trust, confidence, receiving, giving. They're all core stuff. So you could go in and ask yourself, if you think, for an example, that someone may be poking fun at you, or you may feel like they don't have your back, what is that actually really bringing up? Don't get caught up in the story. Drop down into that core and go, is this situation bringing up my own lack of self-belief? Is it bringing up my own lack of trust? Is it bringing up my own lack of loving myself? So please use this moment over the weekend to go in and visit and see what has come up from you from the full moon. Go in and see the healing and transformation that can occur for you, but go in at a core level and ask what it is that's being shown to you. Because if we, as you always hear me say, if we can fix things from a core level, then we actually are laying down beautiful new foundations from which we can grow. So this week is bringing a lot of insight. It's also bringing through a lot of wisdom. Now, wisdom to me is something that usually comes at that hindsight moment. We all have hindsight. If only I knew this beforehand, we would have done things different because I've learned something from it. This is this moment. You'll come through the end of the week, and maybe it might take to the start of next week or to the start of next week that that coin drops and you go, now I actually get what it is. So be mindful that on the weekend that there will be levels of sensitivity. So you may feel drawn to spend a little bit more time. Be mindful that, if you've taken something the wrong way, it's only because you've got that level of sensitivity. So don't take it to heart what's been said. Go in and investigate at a core level. What did it trigger for you? Be kind as always, be gentle, be nurturing. But as you can see, that this week really is about going within, checking in with self, doing that deep transverse work. I'll move these around so they're, in the right order. So again, our first week is about reflection, checking in on our internal beliefs. As the full moon comes up, it's going to give us the opportunity to allow music to be able to reveal beautiful messages, but also be able to allow us to shift any energy that may have come up from the reflection card, which will bring up a whole new level of sensitivity. So remember, go in at a core level and ask yourself, what is actually being revealed to you that could potentially still require some healing. So you can see that this whole week is all about your own personal healing and transformation that's going to occur for you. So to be mindful of that level of sensitivity, also being mindful that a full moon can also affect each and every one of us on an energetic level. So to be mindful of your energy. Where are you distributing it? Are you sending it off in channels that is not important, that not number one priority at this moment? Can you bring some of your reserves of energy that you're sharing in this area and bring it back and give it back to yourself to help you through what's going to be an incredibly exciting week all around the healing that you need for yourself? And first, in order for that to occur, we need to go within and be incredibly objective. But know that your soul has chosen this because you do have the strength, you do have the courage to overcome anything and to be able to come back to a place that aligns you with your true soul self, your own truth. And your own truth is going to be very different than someone else's. So remembering that what works for one person doesn't necessarily work for others. So to check in with yourself and know that all of the answers will be revealed to you. So I wish you an incredibly amazing week. Again, this is the reading that's being done using my own oracle cards, which are called Be You, because the world doesn't need anyone else out there. It only needs you to be you. But in order for you to go and work out who you are, you must first go on the journey of self-discovery and know that you will always be shown the magic and beauty that resides within you. So again, have a beautiful, awesome week. Share and celebrate the full moon and the gifts that it reveals to us. And feel free to please share this video if you think it was going to resonate with someone else. And you can contact me if anyone would like to be able to share their insight or want to be able to get in contact with me. Feel free to find me on www.rachelthompsonphillips.com, and you will find the links listed below. So be wicked, be fun, be awesome, be you.